It brings me great pleasure to officially be able to welcome you to the Sensationalist. And I have to say it, forgive me, it's been a long time coming.
Well, it's another day, another scandal in Hollywood.
Honestly, she had it coming if you ask me.
It's all just so performative.
Well, it's true because the internet said.
Wait, I think I've seen this film before.
You're never gonna believe what happened next.
I don't think she'll ever recover from this.
It's so scandalous.
It's shocking.
It's all just so sensational.
There is one thing that I have noticed in this world, and that is that there is truly nothing new under the sun. Whether it is a pop star or a politician, there is always a scandal, there's always a villain, and there's always a hero. But more often than not, somewhere along the way, the roles change. The hero becomes the villain, and the villain becomes the hero, and we're oversaturated with information that the public doesn't know who to believe. And they eventually lose interest because just in time, another scandal makes its way to our headlines, and they all sound so familiar when you really look at them. Is there really anything scandalous anymore? Or is it all simply sensational? It brings me great pleasure to officially be able to welcome you to the Sensationalist. And now, before we begin, there are a couple things that we need to go over, some housekeeping, if you will, because I'm inviting you into my home. Get cozy, grab a blanket, grab a snack, and let's gossip. My name is Britton Rae. I will be your host of The Sensationalist. Let's get something very clear. This is not just a podcast. Let me be so clear about that. This is a show. This is a production. This is theater. This is my moment. This is my late night television talk show. This is my show. This is my theatrical performance. Welcome. I'm so excited for you to be here, and I also want you to feel very comfortable. I'm not inviting you to my screen. I'm inviting you into my home. We're having a sleepover. We're in our pajamas. We have our blankets. We're cozy. We have a little beverage somewhere, maybe some popcorn, a snack or two, whatever you want. That is your prerogative. I am just here to be your host. I'm here to be a good host. I'm here to be a welcoming host. I'm here to be an entertaining host, but I also would like you to walk away from every single episode feeling like you maybe learned something. Or maybe you were challenged. Maybe you saw a different side, a different perspective of something. But more importantly, I would like you to start asking questions about the things that meet your eyes, the things that meet your screens, the different stories that come out and how they all have an angle. Because after all, that is the world that we live in. We live in a world that is controlled by screens and algorithms, which makes it really easy for those who want to manipulate you based on your emotions. Anything that gets you emotionally activated, puts you on the offense or the defense, just ask yourself, why? Why do they want me to be so angry? Why do they want me to feel so passionate about this? What is the angle? Because like I said in the beginning, there truly is nothing new under the sun. And no matter if it's a pop star, if it's a regular old person like you or me, if it's a TikTok influencer, it doesn't matter. If you look at the fabric of the storyline, you will notice threads that have been woven into the fabric of our society for generations and generations, and that is exactly what this podcast is going to get you to see. So without further ado, shall we begin our first segment of The Sensationalist? Somebody dial 411. I'm having a gossip emergency. Hello, 411. I desperately need the scoop. Welcome to our first segment, the 411, where we talk about everything that's been going on over the past couple of weeks, all of the recent events, the trending issues, from pop culture to politics, you name it, and of course, some scandalous tales. Now, as I was planning this podcast, it has taken me a lot of time because I really wanted to do it well, and I might not have the best equipment yet because I'm having to do this on my own. You know, I don't have a studio, I don't have a big production set or equipment or crew or whatever, you name it. I don't even know the terms for these things because this is not my prerogative. I'm the talent. Anyway, so just so you know, the setup right now, I have a ring light looking straight at me. It wasn't quite bright enough, so I have a lamp flipped on its head, balanced on my coffee table. I have a tripod with a camera on it, a camera that is not the best quality, but it's better than nothing. And then I have it plugged into my laptop where all of this is being fed into for me to edit later. And then I also have a mic, as you can see. This is the mic. And I have this lovely table where I have my main prop, my phone, where I get to call in the next segment. So is it perfect? No. Is it working? We'll see. But even though I don't have all of the equipment, when I decided I wanted to do a podcast, I really wanted to do something different because I think we can all agree that there are enough podcasts out there to make us live forever. Like, we have plenty of podcasts out there. Everybody is telling all of their business on the internet these days. Every single person on the planet sits and talks into a microphone about their life, and it's kind of like For me, at least, I wanted something different, something that no one was doing before, something that is like structured where there's a clear point to this, but there's unlimited things that we could talk about. And so really what kept coming to mind is the idea that my novel was based on, the idea that patterns do indeed repeat themselves. And once you learn to recognize the patterns, you start to see that everything really does start to repeat itself. History repeats itself. Well, hello. We're having some technical difficulties, which is not optimal for this being the first time you and I are doing this. That's kind of a little awkward. But you know what? A diva never goes down. A diva cannot go down. You cannot take a diva down unless the diva decides to go down. And this diva, standing up. We're finishing this episode, so help me God. As I was saying, I wanted to do something different. I wanted something that was structured. I wanted something that had a point to it, whether we were talking with a guest, which hopefully in the future we will have plenty of guests on this podcast. If we're talking about a musician's career, if we're talking about a scandalous story that's happening in current events, if we're talking about politics, whatever it is, there is a similar thread there. And I want to talk about that. And I want to dive into those themes. I want to get you to feel entertained. I want you to love this show. I want you to really feel like I put effort into it. And I also want you to walk away feeling like you learned something. I want you to feel like there's a point more than just purely to entertain, because educational entertainment is something that I think is really important, and it's also somewhat hard to do. But I think that what I came up with is something that a lot of people will really enjoy. And so that is my show. This is The Sensationalist. We are going to talk about everything you can imagine, everything that I talk about on my various channels, and also everything that I talk about in my book. It's all going to come to fruition here, but in real time, diving into the things that are trending, the things that are happening in the world around us, and the people who are living in it. I can't wait to have guests on, hopefully musical guests and actors, and I'm shooting for the stars, but that's how I roll. That's how I roll. I'm a diva. What can I say? But one day I would love to have some celebrities sit on this couch with me. Probably not this couch. I hope that I upgrade at some point, but that's neither here nor there. One day when I have guests on and we talk about their careers, I want to see if they too have noticed that we've seen this film before. What is the point? What is the root? What was the agenda behind this and why? And so today I have a really exciting episode to talk about that with you guys, because something that has been trending as of recent is the scandal surrounding the pop girlies. I mean, good Lord, good heavens. First, it was Sabrina Carpenter's album cover came out and made everyone just lose their mind. Everyone and their mother, they had never seen a woman look sexy before. Sue me. Like, is that a problem? Are we really it's one of those things of the pendulum swings, the chaos it brings. The thing is, we go so far right that we end up going back to the left, and we go so far left that we flip right. And I'm not just saying like right and left politics. We go so far one way, we end up on the other side of the spectrum, right? That's what has happened with this. We were just a couple months ago empowering women to, if they want to show their body, then they can show their body. That's female empowerment. And you may agree with that. You may not agree with that. That doesn't really matter. We flipped so hard to where the same people who were agreeing with those sentiments are now scrutinizing pop star Sabrina Carpenter for centering men, as if the only reason a woman would want to look sexy is for a man. And as if this woman has made her entire career about men when her primary audience is the gays and the girls. Like, let's be so for real. Go to a Sabrina Carpenter concert and tell me how many straight men you see there by their lonesome. That's going to be a big goose egg, okay? And not only Sabrina Carpenter, we have Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift and her new album, The Life of a Showgirl, shocked everybody and their mother, not from the music itself. The Life of a Showgirl came out, and within 3 to 5 minutes after, so did hundreds of thousands of videos and comments talking about how horrible this album was before you could have even finished listening to the album. And it just makes you think, I wonder how many of those accounts were real, because they were all saying the same things. And it's funny, over the couple of days and weeks that passed after the album's release, it just got even more progressive with the hate. The hate continued to progress to levels that I don't think you, me, or anybody could have ever foreseen coming. We went from this album sucks, the writing is really bad, to it's trad wife propaganda. And then we went to her merch is racist and anti-Semitic. This is my reaction to all of that. All of it just makes me think of the quote, when it's burned the bitch, there's shrieking. When the truth comes out, it's quiet. And the funny thing to me that I paid attention to is all of these opinions were really, really loud in the beginning, and then they all just kind of disappeared, which that in itself is something that continues to repeat itself throughout history as we watch these things unfold, something super shocking and scandalous, and then it just kind of goes away, especially when the truth comes out that it's not near as salacious. And I will give you the perfect example in regards to the life of a showgirl. So for those of you who don't know, there was a necklace that was released with the Life of a Showgirl merch on Taylor Swift's website, and it had lightning bolts on it because there is a song called Opalite that says dancing through the lightning strikes on it. I think most people with half of a brain and less interest in causing internet drama would have never thought it was anything other than a reference to the song on the album, because this album was what this merch was for, right? The merch was for the album where the song said dancing through the lightning strikes, and the necklace I think was even called Dancing Through the Lightning Strikes necklace. I don't remember, don't quote me on that. But all of a sudden, out of nowhere, somebody decides to post on the internet that this is an anti-Semitic dog whistle because they're lightning bolts and they resemble the SS symbols. Now, not only did they not, as far as the actual design and shape go, but they were also saying that there were 8 on each side, which 8, the 8th letter of the alphabet is H, and people were saying that this 8 lightning bolt necklace was a dog whistle to be HH, as in he who shall not be named. And what's interesting about this is I like to approach everything on the internet with a little bit of curiosity, a little bit of skepticism, and a lot of openness. I'm always open to hearing somebody's take, even if it's something that makes me a little uncomfortable, even if it's something that right off the bat I'm like, there's no freaking way. That actually pulls me in further because I am going to want to see, I really want you to prove me wrong. I have what I would like to say is a fairly open mind. And I also believe that nothing can shock me anymore. There's all kinds of things in this world that happen all the time that I can't believe happen. So I'm at the point now where it's like, you know what? You might be right. Let's see what you have to say about this. But what tends to happen is after something so shocking comes out, tons of people just immediately jump on the bandwagon and they start posting the same thing. They repost. They say how shocked they are by this. They say they can't believe this. They say how awful it is before they ever do a lick of due diligence to check and see if this is actually true. The funny thing about that necklace is that there were not 8 lightning bolts on each side. There were 12 total because this is Taylor Swift's 12th album, The Life of a Showgirl, where the song Opalite, Dancing Through the Lightning Strikes, is on. Imagine that. And the person who came forward with this claim, who started all of this with the video about the lightning bolts and all of that, later came out angry for this video no longer being monetized and admitting that they had posted it knowing that it was not correct, but knowing that it would go viral, and they were searching for a viral moment, one that they could monetize. And that, my friends, is just something that you have got to keep in the back of your mind with everything on the internet these days, because we live in some different times. It used to be where the tabloids wrote the stories, the newspapers wrote the stories. You had to be a journalist or a writer to be able to have any sway in the conversation of the world, of what's going on, whether it's pop culture or politics or world news, whatever it is. You had to be somebody who had credentials to write in a publication on that, to write in some kind of a story, to have some kind of a take that others would read and digest. Now, that is not the case. All you need is one of these. If you have a phone, you can video whatever you want. You don't have to be fact-checked. You don't have to have anybody out there to tell you that's true, that's not true. You can post whatever you want to post. And here's the kicker. Anyone with one of these has the ability to grow to, I believe it's 10,000 followers, where then they can monetize every take they have. Now, can you just imagine, can we use our critical thinking skills and imagine what issues that might bring to the world? If everybody and their mother has the potential to make $1 or $1,000 or $10,000 off of a really hot video, what would it take in this day and age, in this world, and it's a tale as old as time, what would it take for you to make the most amount of money? What would you think you should say? Should you make a video about how everything is sunshine and rainbows and how much you love people and how much you just see positivity in the world and how everything's going really good? Taylor Swift is a sweetie pie and Sabrina Carpenter, oh, she's such a girl's girl. That's what the popular opinion seems to be, whether you want to admit it or not. Most people do love Taylor Swift. A lot of people love Sabrina Carpenter. They wouldn't be at the level of success if that wasn't the truth. What would go more viral? Saying that Taylor Swift's album is awesome or saying it's the worst thing you've ever heard? Because guess what? If you can find the perfect formula of igniting a fire in the fan base, the massive fan base of any of these people, this goes for politics, this goes for pop culture, pop girlies, pop stars, famous people, actors, whatever, anyone who has a massive following of people, if you can fire up their biggest supporters and get them fighting in your comments with you, but then also, if you can rally all the haters with the same video that they feel seen with you. You said something that they're like, yes, finally, the downfall of Taylor Swift, I hate her so much. And they get to chime in and they get to also fight with the supporters that are fighting for their lives in your comment sections. And you just sit back and watch the engagement roll in along with the cash and the attention, which attention in 2025 is the new currency. It's worth more than the dollar. So can you imagine why there are people out there who make entire livings off of rage bait content? Their entire online presence is nothing but rage bait. Why do you think that is? Why do you think it works? Why are we so driven for negativity, scandals? It's exciting. It's much more exciting than saying everything's gumdrops and lollipops, right? It's also not really realistic to say that everything's gumdrops and lollipops, not in this world. And dare you say that? That's just pretty much a scandalous take. If you can piss people off, then pretty soon you can also piss money because you'll have so much coming in from the engagement. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel pretty ill about it, but I also think that it's just kind of how it goes, you know? It's kind of the world that we live in. And also, it's kind of the world we always have lived in. And you know, as all of this was happening with Taylor Swift's album, I was just thinking to myself, this is so familiar. And it's not just familiar because I was a fan during the Reputation era, where I saw her canceled on such a large scale. Everyone was tweeting Taylor Swift is over party. That's not what was familiar to me. It goes back a little bit further than that. Any guesses? Wait a second. What? That just gave me deja vu. Welcome to our next segment, the Daily Dose of Deja Vu, where we talk about these current events and where we've seen them before in our history. Throughout this segment, we are going to be talking about how there is nothing new under the sun. We are going to be analyzing the patterns that are within these scandalous stories that are happening in our world today to see where we have seen it happen before, in different font, of course. The sensationalism of it all, the patterns in our society. There is nothing new under the sun, so help me God. And by analyzing the patterns of our current society and finding where we've seen them before, then maybe, just maybe, we can start to predict what comes next and pay a lot more attention. Honestly, when it comes to a lot of Taylor Swift hate, I always think back to the Salem Witch Trials. And it's not just because Taylor Swift is a woman and most of the people that were hung during the Salem Witch Trials were women, of course. That is a part of it. That's one of the little threads in the fabric of this storyline. It's because I always question why people are so quick to jump on an accusation rather than looking for the truth. We have this idea of innocent until proven guilty, but that's not really the case, is it? The second there's any kind of shocking story out there, whether it's a scandal with a pop star or a high-profile murder case, then we immediately have our opinion drawn. The public opinion is often more valuable than the actual verdict, right? It also sways the verdict heavily. And so it's about who controls the narrative. It's not about who's right. It's not about who's wrong. It's not about who's telling the truth. The truth doesn't matter, does it? If nobody believes it, who cares? It's about the story you sell. Who can sell the better story? And quite often, just like we talked about, the story that sells better is the one that gets people emotionally activated, the one that gets people all riled up, the one that gets people really angry, the one that gives people the validation of the person they already hate. If they now have a really good reason to hate them, then great. It doesn't matter if it's true. They saw it on the internet. Why wouldn't it be true? You saw some random person that you've never seen before in your freaking life talk about something that you have a bias about already. And so you just have confirmation bias. My point is that with Taylor Swift's lightning bolt necklace, with the lyrics in Opalite, with the cancellation attempt of her, with Reputation era, and also with The Life of a Showgirl and the rollout of just all of a sudden everybody hates it, but you're listening to it. She is the only artist on the planet who even her haters tune into just as much or maybe even more than her biggest supporters. And it got me thinking, and I was like, why does this remind me so much of the Salem Witch Trials? Let's do some research into there. Let's see if this is the story. This is the one we can pinpoint for today's daily dose of deja vu, where we see where we have seen this before. And what is that thread that I'm looking for? What is that similar thread? And I learned something. I learned something rather sensational about the Salem Witch Trials. Did you know, during the Salem Witch Trials, that the person who was the accuser of a witch, and that witch was executed, the person who was the accuser got a portion of that witch's assets, of their properties? So think land, livestock, things that are valuable, especially during this time period. So you can imagine, if you look into the history books, a lot of these witches had a lot of things that people wanted. They had land, they had livestock, they had money. And these people who accused them of being witches, they got some of that in return for being such good citizens and finding a witch and getting them out of society, because heaven forbid, get away from the hysteria. Thank you for your service. You get a portion of what they had now, because we're going to kill them. Are you picking up on what I'm putting down? Are you getting a little bit of deja vu as I say this? Does something from this episode sound familiar? Let me just ask you, what does Taylor Swift have that a lot of people want? What did I just say is today's currency? What's more valuable than the dollar? Attention, fame. Taylor Swift has a lot of fame. So when these people go out on their witch hunt, when they point the finger at Taylor Swift, at her necklace, at her lyrics, at her album, and they have a shocking take, and they say that she's a witch, they say she's done these awful things, they label her a racist, misogynistic, all of these buzzwords that are just as bad today as witch was during the Salem Witch Trials. What do they get a portion of when that video goes viral? They get a portion of her fame, because guess who's tuning in? The fans that she built herself. The haters that she also built herself. If you are a hater, you are indeed a product of a celebrity's hard work. Just so you know. You're welcome. And this person on the internet that had this salacious hot take, they got a portion of that fame. They got your attention. They took your attention from Taylor Swift. The attention you were already paying to Taylor Swift, whether it was from a place of admiration or hate, and they brought it to their own page. They got a portion of it. They led Taylor Swift to the gallows. They called her a witch. You believed it. And then they got that portion for being such a good Samaritan, being such a good citizen, calling it out. Sound familiar? Isn't it interesting when you start to think about it like that? What are these people after? They're after fame. They're after attention. They want to have the internet's hottest take of the week. Especially if it's about a powerful person, because guess what? The more power there is to the person, the more power there is to be shared, to be taken, to be stolen, to be redirected if you have that hot take about that person. And like I said, people aren't going to fact check you, not a lot of them. It's the snowball effect. The second something shocking comes out, people get trigger happy, they post it, they repost it, they talk about it before they even check. And then before we know it, what narrative has been spun? It doesn't matter what the truth is. The narrative's out there. People are attaching onto it and they're reposting it. And even when they find out it might not be true, well, that's boring compared to their video that now has 4 million views. They're not going to take it down. Why would they do that? That's a paycheck. That's a good paycheck. That's their property that they got. That's their cut. It's a witch hunt. And it's oh so familiar. So I challenge you to have your own daily dose of deja vu as you go through your algorithm on whatever platform you prefer. And every hot take you see, just ask yourself, what property is this taking? Who's the witch here? What are they getting from this? And I'm not saying everybody is like this. We live in a world where there's shocking things that happen all the time and they are true. But the problem is the more we come with things like this that are so ridiculous, the more people start to say, I don't believe anything I see anymore. That's a dangerous world to live in, because combining it with the fact that AI now exists and we have to ask, is a video even real or not? Well, where are we going to find ourselves? We're going to find ourselves in a place where no one believes anything anyone says, because they all know that everybody's after their viral moment. It's a witch hunt. Everyone's trying to get property from these famous people or these politicians. They just want attention, and it's AI. That didn't happen. They didn't say that that's AI. It's fake. And we can all just continue to live in our little bubble of wanting to believe what we want to believe and not having our viewpoints challenged whatsoever, because there's always an excuse. There's always a finger to point anywhere but at our own side, right? Now imagine who would want that to be the case. People like you and me, or people at the very tippity top who can get you to where, if no one controls the narrative, if there's no way to shape public opinion anymore because everyone is so incredibly divided and already biased and not willing to look at anything with a scrutinizing eye, not wanting to peel back the curtain and ask, well, what might be the point of this? Maybe this is orchestrated to some level. Maybe I've seen this film before and I can go and look in the history books, or better yet, the forgotten texts of history, and really dig into those. Maybe, just maybe, I'll start to see a little bit of the truth. I'll start to have more questions than I have answers. Now imagine why that would be a bad thing. The most dangerous thing, and you can take this to the bank, the most dangerous thing to people who want to keep power in society is a curious society. People who are curious. People who are curious want to be exposed to new information. People who want to be exposed to new information typically have a more open mind, because they're looking for answers that they don't have. If you take away that curiosity and you allow people to safely live in a bubble of confirmation bias where they are strictly glued to their own side, then we have a 50-50 split down the middle. No one's ever going to be able to come together and get anything done, except for the big guys, right? And I don't mean God. I mean the false gods that live among us. Are we getting a little too serious? Do we need to pipe down a little bit? Have something a little more chill, a little more fun? Get a little laugh in there? What do you say we play a game? It's a sleepover after all. Hi, yes, room service? Can we play a game? Oh, that's a good one. Game time. It's game time. Game time with Britton Rae. Today's game is called Choose Your Curse. Scandalous! Oh my God, lock me up, I'm a witch. And yes, these curses will be real. Whichever one you choose, you will have. I'm just kidding. I'm not a witch. Maybe. For this game, I am going to read you 3 choices in which you have to choose which one you would rather be cursed with for the rest of your life. The rest of your days, a permanent curse. You get to choose, but you have to choose. Now, if you are watching this on a platform where you can see this video, then I encourage you to leave a comment below. If not, just answer to yourself. The live studio audience will also be shouting out the answers, but I have them muted because they need to calm down. It's not about them, it's about me. So, are you ready to hear the choices you have for your curse? Choice number 1 is that you are forced for the rest of your life to fall for every single bit of rage bait content for the rest of your life. Every single bit of rage bait you see, you firmly believe, truly believe is real, and you perpetuate it, you spread it, you tell it to everyone, and no one can change your mind. Ooh. Curse number 1. Curse number 2 is that you can only speak for the rest of your days in internet brain rot slang, also harrowing. And I will say, I'll allow the internet brain rot can update with the times. Like, you will get new terms, okay? If that makes it better. But you can only speak in internet brain rot. Like, I'm talking every word out of your mouth. Internet brain rot. And curse number 3 is that your voice changes and is permanently changed to the trickster voice effect from TikTok. That's how you speak now. Now, I can go ahead and give you a minute to think about these while I tell you my choice, and it's going to be an easy one for me. I am going to have to say I'm going to go with the trickster voice, okay? Because the number one thing is that, number one, I cannot stand the people who fall for rage bait, hence why we have talked about all of this since the purpose of this podcast. So that would be a little bit ridiculous for me to choose that as my curse. That's actually my hell, so I am not going with that option. Number 2, internet brain rot is pretty much my second least favorite thing on the planet besides rage bait. I can't stand it. And I think it's mainly because I don't get a ton of hate comments, but the hate comments I do get, they always have internet brain rot. So I have now just associated internet brain rot with being even dumber than it ever was. So I'm not going to lump myself in with those haters. I'm not going to do it. I can't do it. That's not going to be the option for me. Number 3, the trickster voice. Now, as annoying as this would get, I think I could live with it, and I think I could really make it into my personality, and I could make it into a talent of like posting videos and saying, it's real. Like, this isn't like, people would think that I'm lying, and I think I could make a living off of it. I'd get more attention. And like I said, I love attention, and attention is currency in today's world. So really, that would be the best option for me. That would be my curse. And you know, if you can find a way to turn a curse into a blessing, then, well, is it really a curse? You tell me. Oh, does anyone know the number to a good handyman? I cannot find any sharp tools in this shed. Hello? Thank God. Please tell me you have some sort of a sharp tool. Everyone's dumb as bricks. Welcome to our next segment, Smooth Brains and Hard Hats, where we take a look at what the sharpest tools on the internet had to say this week. So as I have gone on about my time on the internet, posting my takes, posting my opinions, sharing my thoughts on Taylor Swift lyrics, primarily talking about my book, just sharing my life, making content, I have been so fortunate to deal with some of the world's dumbest people. And I don't really like to give them a lot of attention. I'm really not one to respond to a hate comment or somebody who's really just trying to get a gotcha moment, because I don't want to give them that. But I do find some of them wildly entertaining. And I thought to myself a while ago, I would start a little series where I read people's comments, but I'm a little nice, okay? I don't want to give them attention. I also don't want to ever send in an army of people to bully anybody with. So it's like, I don't need to make a video responding to the comment. I just need to store them in my phone and then share them on my show in front of my live studio audience so that we can all have a good laugh. My advice will be serious for a second, okay? If you are somebody who's posting content and you are finding yourself feeling like crap from hate comments, if you're worried about hate comments, the best thing you can do, read them aloud to somebody else, because I promise you, the second you say them out loud, you hear how ridiculous it is, and it's hilarious. It's genuinely hilarious. So I have some that I have saved that I want to talk about today. Number 1, this is from a while back. It's one of my favorites. I think it's just really entertaining. I think it's really insightful. I think it was really well said. This is about Sabrina Carpenter, and it's about her album cover that, everyone had a stroke over. And I shared a hot take that I think Sabrina Carpenter is problematic because she's self-aware, and people hate to see a self-aware, sexy, confident woman coming at them. That's, call the witch trials up. Let's get one going again. That might as well be what we do, because heaven forbid a woman is confident and self-aware. That's not a good thing. So this is what this person had to say. She is not self-aware. She is not a girl's girl. She told women they were overreacting. She is self-defensive and doesn't take criticism well. I know full well I don't have to like it. But when I see or hear something so tone-deaf and misguided, am I not allowed to talk? Who do I have to ask permission to speak my opinion? And posts like these are shoving the conversation into a black and white narrative. Unfollowed. Every time I read the last part, it just really gets me. Like I said, I love attention, so to see somebody say, just to flat out say unfollowed is like, that's so mean, I think that's what they think I do when somebody comments this. I love it. I love it so much. It's really entertaining. Yeah, just a couple things I have to say about this is I love it when somebody takes like a paragraph to explain why they're exiting. I didn't even know you were here, but thank you. I kind of think it's funny when people take the time in general to leave a paragraph of a comment. Obviously, I'm not talking about people who are really nice, like keep doing that. Keep writing me letters. Love letters. I love those. Anyway, but the people who leave a long comment like about a pop star, like going off on a tangent, and it's literally like, how did you have time to do that? What do you do? Is this all you do? And then it always ends with the unfollowed. Anyway, that tool is not going to work for me. I'm going to need something a little sharper. Okay. I was just talking about paragraphs. I'm going to need you all to take a deep breath, embrace yourselves, grab onto something. Don't blow away. Don't blow away. Are you ready? This isn't mean, okay? This isn't a mean comment. And I hate to be like this because I'm a Swiftie, obviously, duh. But every now and then, there are some Swiftie theories that I read, and I get why people say that we're crazy, you know? So I thought it would be fun to share this one, because I don't even know. This is not the real album. It will be called Taylor Allison Swift, or The Life of Taylor Allison Swift, because we'll have debut Taylor's version after, and that is called Taylor Swift. The real font is the one on the letter with the diamonds, Gatsby vibe, Art Deco. Not this one, because it's very bad, and it seems red font album. That's interesting, because she mentioned that album in the podcast, and also she wore a red dress for the Grammys. All the collabs with Selena Gomez, Alice in Wonderland Easter eggs, Ariana Grande, Wizard of Oz Easter eggs, Dua Lipa, the Argyle film, Art Deco, Cats, etc., Stevie Nicks. There will be more tracks, not only 12. That's impossible. She just trolling us. The emoji heart fire flame is for this fake troll album, and the real one we will have orange. Color scheme, only orange and pink, orange and mint. It's not aesthetically correct. Release date at the end of the Bejeweled video. There's a birthday song. She will release the real album on her birthday, 12/13/25. You got that? You all got that, right? Listen, I'm all for it. Honestly, if that ends up being true, I will come back and I will eat my words. Actually, I will just applaud you. Like, impressive if that's true. However, at present, what was that? What was that? This could end up being the sharpest tool that we have in our shed. If this person's correct, then they will win sharpest tool, okay? All right. This one is my favorite comment I've ever gotten, okay? So backstory on this, I had made a video where I was talking about something with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, like her going on his podcast or something. And I like jokingly said something about like Travis Kelce, his keeper, talking about Taylor Swift, like being his keeper. And that made some people mad. Can you believe? So I got this comment, and it's one of my favorite things I've ever read. So let me just get started with it. His keeper? Is that what you are to your man? First of all, yes. You keep an animal. As a Kelce follower for 10 years, I can promise you no one is telling Travis what to do. I imagine he told her he was going to post some pics and asked her to look, delete, and or add, but he's a man who does what he wants. He respects her, he loves her, he knows her better than any Swiftie ever would. He simps for her, but he handles his own. The way they are outside has as much to do with what he wants to do as well as what she wants to do. Calling this grown, confident, successful, kind, generous, filthy rich man kept is an ultimate insult. I'm so sorry. My favorite part of this is the little slam poetry moment that we got here. It sounds like a little Dr. Seuss-esque. The way they are outside has as much to do with what he wants to do as well as what she wants to do. I love that bar for bar. Yeah, I don't really have much to add to this. I just think it's beautiful, well-rounded, top to bottom, like just no notes. I couldn't have written this better if I tried. I love it. I just hear, I hear the fingernails clacking on the keyboard as this probably 45-year-old woman is doing this in her Kansas City Chiefs sweatshirt that she's wearing. I love it. I hope you're watching. I genuinely love you. Please keep giving me comments like this. Now this one, I don't even know if I'm going to include it. This is kind of crazy. If you're watching this, I obviously decided to, but this is like genuinely bonkers. One of the most wild things I've ever read, because what the hell? Like that's all I have to say about this. I got a comment. I said something about, you know, one of my things that gets people riled up is I said a lot of Taylor Swift hate is rooted in misogyny, which I stand by that. Come for me, sue me, lock me up. I don't care. This person said that that's not why they don't like her. Try to take a guess at why they might not like her. Because I'll bet you 10 million bucks you won't guess this. Okay, you ready? No, I don't like her, as she did a dirty protest in a hotel and stuck period pads to the walls and feces rubbed into the carpet and curtains. Oh, and she was extremely rude to all of our staff in the hotel. Like I said, what the hell? That's all I have to say to that. What the hell? I have to say, I do believe, like I said, we love some scandals. We love some shocking media. If that was a true story, I think we would have heard about it by now. I think that would be pretty hard for even Tree Paine to get swept under the rug. Swept under the rug and curtains that are rubbed with feces. So, I love that. Okay, this one's recent. I posted this video where I decided to be vulnerable, and I shared that, you know, the worst thing that I've ever gone through has happened this year, and that I've really struggled a lot mentally, that I'm not in the best place. And I decided to share that. And I got this comment that was just really motivating and really different than what I expected. Like, I'll just read it to you. I just didn't expect to have somebody give me so much direction, you know? I think it would be very wise and very good for you to post about your life like this and keeping it real and avoid your hugely inaccurate, annoying videos about Taylor Swift lyrics. And you know, I don't know why I didn't think of that first. I just need to stop posting my really annoying, hugely inaccurate Taylor Swift takes. Damn. I didn't think of that. Didn't think of that, but thank God we've got a lot of sharp tools in this shed. Okay, this has been really fun, but I'm looking for something like way more juicy. Does anybody have anything? Ask them. Oh my God, that's such a good idea. Thank you. Well, friends and neighbors, we have a brand new segment coming to the Sensationalist next week called Sensational Stories, where I hear your sensational stories directly from you. If you would like to send me the most shocking thing that's happened to you, the biggest rumor that was spread by you or about you, anything where you felt that you were slandered, a smear campaign against you, just some hot gossip, whatever you have to share, the sky's the limit. I would love for you to send your stories in to my email, thesensationalistpodcast@gmail.com, and I just might read your story next week. That is thesensationalistpodcast@gmail.com. I'm so excited to read them. I'm so excited to read them on the show next week, and I cannot wait to just have this as an open, like, it's going to be my favorite form of entertainment ever. Tell me the most shocking thing you've ever had happen to you. Tell me the most shocking thing you've ever done, and don't worry, it's going to be anonymous, so you can really get crazy with it, okay? You can get bonkers. I want crazy. I want to be salivating at the drama, at the gossip. Like, I want to be baffled. I want to be baffled. I am so looking forward to reading them. Hello. I knew it. I knew you were going to say that. I'm going to tell them bye first. Okay. Bye. Well, unfortunately, that is all the time we have today because I have to let this live studio audience out. I've had the best time ever. I am so excited for this show. I'm so excited for the beginning of this journey. Here's to many, many more episodes. I hope you will tune in. I hope you will write in. I hope you will have this be your favorite show on the internet. I hope this will be your favorite podcast to listen to when you're driving to work, to watch, because look at me. Don't you want to watch me? I'm a star. That's enough rambling, but I've had so much fun. I'm so glad you're here. I will see you next week on The Sensationalist. Wait, what? You guys are not going to believe what I have to tell you next week.